The Galactic Council chambers fell silent as Ambassador Zephyra of the Altarian Empire stood before the assembled delegates. Her crystalline form shimmered with disdain as she gestured toward the lone human representative seated in the far corner. "Look at them," she declared, her voice resonating through the vast hall. "Fragile flesh, limited lifespan, primitive technology. The humans are nothing more than a liability to our alliance. When the Void Swarm arrives, they will be the first to fall, and their weakness will doom us all." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. The reptilian saurians nodded their massive heads while the energy-based luminals pulsed with approval. Even the peaceful Verdani, with their plant-like consciousness, seemed to sway in consensus. Dr. Elena Vasquez remained seated, her weathered hands folded calmly in her lap. At 63, she had seen enough of the galaxy to know that appearances could be deceiving. The other species saw humans as the newest, weakest members of the Council, barely evolved apes who had stumbled into space travel a mere century ago. "Ambassador Zephyra raises valid concerns," rumbled General Krax of the Saurian Dominion. "My species has fought wars for 10,000 years. The Altarians have mastered energy manipulation beyond your comprehension. Even the Verdani can regrow, lost limbs, and live for millennia. What can humans possibly contribute to our defense?" Elena finally stood, her modest height dwarfed by the towering aliens around her. "If I may," she began quietly, "I'd like to tell you about a human named Marcus Chen." The delegates exchanged glances. Another human story. How tedious. 3 months ago, Elena continued, Marcus was mining asteroids in the Outer Rim when his ship's AI detected unusual gravitational anomalies. Instead of reporting it and waiting for orders like any sensible being would do, Marcus decided to investigate personally. Ambassador Zephyra's form flickered with impatience. "And this proves what exactly?" "He discovered the Void Swarm's advanced scout fleet," Elena replied calmly. 12 hours before they would have detected our monitoring stations. Marcus didn't have military-grade weapons or shields. His mining ship was barely armed, but he didn't retreat. The chamber grew quiet. The Void Swarm had been a theoretical threat for decades, an all-consuming alien force from dark space that devoured entire civilizations. Recent long-range sensors had confirmed their approach, still months away from Council space. Marcus rigged his mining charges to his ship's reactor, Elena continued. He flew straight into the center of their formation and detonated everything. The explosion took out 3 scout ships and damaged 2 others. More importantly, it bought us time and sent a clear message to the swarm. We knew they were coming. General Krax leaned forward. "One human against an entire fleet? Impossible." "That's the thing about humans," Elena said with a slight smile. "We don't calculate odds the way you do. Where you see impossible, we see necessary." 3 weeks later, the Void Swarm arrived in force. Their black ships emerged from hyperspace like a plague of locusts, immediately heading for the Council's outer colonies. The United Fleet assembled to meet them was impressive. Altarian energy destroyers, Saurian battle cruisers, luminal fighters that moved at the speed of light, and Verdani bioships that could regenerate damage in real time. The humans contributed 12 modest frigates to the 1,000-ship armada. The first engagement was a disaster. The Void Swarm's adaptive technology quickly countered every weapon the Council threw at them. Altarian energy beams were absorbed and redirected. Saurian kinetic weapons passed harmlessly through their ships' dark matter hulls. The luminals found their lightspeed attack somehow anticipated and avoided. As the Council fleet retreated in disarray, Admiral Sarah Kim received a transmission from the human vessels. "Admiral," came the voice of Captain Torres from the frigate. "Determination, requesting permission to implement Protocol Zero." Admiral Kim hesitated. Protocol Zero was theoretical, a desperate, untested strategy that violated every principle of civilized warfare. "Torres, you understand what you're asking?" "Yes, ma'am. We've run the calculations. It's the only way." On the bridge of her flagship, Admiral Kim watched as the 12 human frigates broke formation and accelerated directly toward the Void Swarm fleet. Every other species would have called it suicide. The humans called it Tuesday. What happened next would be studied in military academies for generations. The human ships didn't try to outfight the swarm's superior technology. Instead, they did something no other species had considered. They rammed the enemy vessels at maximum velocity, detonating their reactors on impact. But that wasn't the brilliant part. Each human frigate was equipped with experimental quantum entanglement devices, synchronized with hidden charges placed throughout Council space over the past month. When the frigates exploded, they created quantum resonance cascades that triggered simultaneous detonations in asteroid fields, abandoned space stations, and derelict ships, all positioned along the swarm's projected advance routes. The Void Swarm found themselves trapped in a carefully orchestrated web of explosions spanning 3 star systems. Their adaptive technology couldn't counter what was essentially a galaxy-wide minefield activated by pure human stubbornness and suicidal courage. In the aftermath, as the surviving swarm ships fled back to dark space, the Galactic Council chambers were once again silent. Ambassador Zephyra's crystalline form had lost its shimmer of superiority. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood before the assembly, but this time every delegate was paying attention. "You called us the weak link," she said simply. "You weren't wrong. We are weak. We're fragile, short-lived, and primitive. But we're also something you've forgotten how to be. Desperate. And desperate beings do desperate things." General Crack spoke first, his voice filled with a respect that hadn't been there before. "The humans, they turned their weakness into a weapon." Elena nodded. "We can't outfight you, outlive you, or outthink you. But we can out-crazy you, every single time. Because when everything is on the line, humans don't surrender. We don't retreat. We don't calculate acceptable losses." She paused, looking around the chamber at the alien faces that no longer held contempt. "We just ask ourselves one question. What needs to be done? And then we do it regardless of the cost. That's not weakness. That's the most dangerous thing in the galaxy." The vote to make humanity the new military commanders of the Council, fleet was unanimous. After all, sometimes you need the weak link to hold everything together.